I'll make this quick. Me and my friend's Etsy shop is now open. We will be selling all of these amazing pieces that we have thrifted and created and made our own. We've been working with clay, moss, flowers, all of those fun things to create these little projects, and we're super proud of them. If you're interested in any of the pieces, there's also going to be more than is shown. I will have a link to our Etsy in the description. I love you. Let's get into the video. We hated the lighting in the last video, so we're back. Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more creepy stories that I am so nervous to read. This is a Reddit thread about the scariest dates people have ever been on. I just want to say really quickly, please be so careful going on dates with these strangers. I would go on dates from dating apps all the time before I met my boyfriend, and it's so scary. You don't know these people. You have to be so careful. What was the scariest moment you've had on a date? I was once told in the car coming back from the date that I would look good in a coffin. I swear to God that I left his car in the middle of nowhere, and yet I felt safer than sitting next to him. Somebody replied to that and said, "That's some psycho shit. How did you leave?" Literally jumped off. Still, I was nice. I told him I didn't like what he had said to me and told him to pull over, and I left. I didn't want to risk it because there was a big plastic bag in the back seat with something in it. Watching these crime stories all my life made me really conscious at that very moment. Paid off. Later in life, I found out there was an axe in the plastic bag. I can't even imagine. Oh my God. And they literally said, "It sounds like you escaped your own murder," and that's what I was gonna say. Like, you're so smart for just getting out at that point. Like, fuck being nice. I don't want to make this story too long, but I met this guy on Tinder that I really liked, and we went out for dancing and drinks. We were talking for weeks, but this was our second time going out together. During the time we were talking, there were a lot of little red flags that would tell me he drank too much, but I was a lot younger and naive back then and tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. Anywho, out of nowhere, he's like, "Let's go outside." Starts messing around on his phone and is telling me, "I'm trying to find us a way out of here," and said the guys standing by the door were after him. So I'm like, okay, let's go back to my car so we can maybe go somewhere else. My car was parked pretty far away because we had gone to multiple locations that night. Anyways, he gets into his head that multiple people are after him, like random people on the street. Once we were in a part of downtown that wasn't so busy, nobody around, he started to think that I was out to get him too. I was trying to call his friend who was nearby to come get him, but he took my phone away because he thought I was calling the cops, and then he threatened me. I got scared because I thought, if he hurts me and leaves me here, nobody's gonna find me until the morning, and it was pretty cold out. His friend eventually came and got him, and I left. Once I was safe, I was jittery all night from the anxiety of having been in rocky relationships before. I told him about it the next morning and he didn't remember any of it. I broke things off shortly after. That's just so sad, honestly. Like, you should have never had to be put through that, and he needs help. Oh, we've all been here. He said he was in love with me and he couldn't live without my scent. It was the first date. I've been there, unfortunately. He took me out to several different bars. I just started reading this one and I'm like, took me out to several different bars and was an ass the whole night. Plunked me down in a seat and promptly ignored me. I struck up a conversation with the lady next to me. Her husband was talking to someone on my other side. My date comes up to me as the lady and I are exchanging numbers. He accuses me of trying to start a lesbian relationship, takes my phone and leaves me at the bar. Took your phone? I had to walk back to his place to get my car, knocked on the door, asked for my phone back. He gaslights me, telling me he didn't have it and I must have dropped it. The next day I got my phone back and he got upset when I told him we were not seeing each other anymore. Sat outside my house a solid 5 minutes after I kicked him out. And the audacity. Because I'm so sorry, what the fuck? Okay, I don't know, this one kind of sounds scary. Well, I guess that's the point, right? I went on a date with a girl not knowing that her ex-boyfriend was in a local Mexican gang. She had just broken up with him about a week prior. He didn't take that well. On top of being a garbage human for physically and mentally abusing her, did I mention he was in a fucking gang? She and I went out on a whole date, multiple places, back to her house to drop her off. I don't realize until I'm leaving the parking lot of the restaurant we went to that we were being followed all the way back to her house. I dropped her off and the guy continued to follow me. Knowing I don't go home, I make intentional turns and things to confirm that he's following me, and he was. Called her, she said, "Don't go home and I'll call you back." She called me back 20 minutes later after I drove through 2 different police stations and she said, "You're okay to go home now, just act normal," which isn't sketchy at all. I went home, he followed and drove off. I walked to my apartment door and there's 30 plus Mexican gang members there, and her cousin who's in the gang, and her brother as well, who isn't but knows them. I had never met them before, so I was like, I'm dying today. The brother asks how I'm doing and said, "Just go inside, you're good." They stood outside my door and in my apartment complex for 4 hours and then went home after the brother knocked on my door and said that should've never happened again. The girl I took on a date ended up dating for 3 years and is now my wife, and we had our first baby in September and celebrated our first year of marriage last week. What even happened? I don't understand. Oh my god, they were different gangs. Oh my god, they're like rival gangs. You're like basically in the gang. That's crazy. So they like scared off the other guy. That's, oh my god, I can't even handle that. And you stayed with her, which is amazing. Like, I'm so happy for you guys, but I'm like, I don't know, I have tears in my eyes. Yeah, this one's, I can't. I actually can't. When I was 18 and naive, I went to the cinema. I'm sorry, being like, nobody would expect this to happen to them ever in their lives. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to say that really quickly because I read some of it. When I was 18 and naive, I went to the cinema with this guy from Tinder, and the whole time he kept touching my leg and trying to put his hand up my skirt. He gave me the ick and I just wanted to leave. After the movie, he dropped me home and I went upstairs to bed. About 10 minutes later, I turn around and the guy from the date is stood in my bedroom threshold. I was home alone for the weekend too, so I started to panic. I asked him why he was in my room and he said he needed the toilet. Knocked, but apparently I didn't hear him, so he let himself in. At this point, my heart was pounding in my chest and I didn't know what to do. He said he had a really nice time and basically pushed me onto my bed and started kissing me. I pushed him away as nicely as possible and said my mom would be back in a minute. He then left and I locked the door behind him. I didn't sleep that night and was terrified he'd break in or something. Ugh. That's like not you being young and naive at all. Everyone goes on dates and everyone does these things, whatever. Going to the movies for a date is not you being young and naive. That guy is insane and I don't want you for a second to blame yourself for that because you did nothing wrong. Okay, I just turned 18 and met this guy at a job I was at. My long-term partner had recently passed from a drug overdose and this guy invited me to a classic car show. Wasn't really interested in him, but my parents said I should go. I decided why not. He complained because I didn't wear a dress. First red flag. Then he asked me if I was afraid of guns. I said, not really, I've shot them before. Well, then he pulled out a pistol in the middle of the car drive. I was hours away from home and this guy that I had just met, and he had a gun. This was at the beginning of our date. I tried to get him to take me home, but I had to spend several hours with him. I ended up getting away from him using the bathroom excuse and calling my parents. It was the worst and most frightening date I have ever been on. Why the gun? I'm just like, why the gun? Somebody even replied to that one and said, I once hooked up with a guy while I was in college. I'm also a man. And after we finished, he started talking about guns and asked if I'd ever held a pistol before. I said no, and he pulled one out and handed it to me. I didn't want it, but he was super insistent, and I just remember it being shockingly heavy. I handed it back and tried to be as cool as possible while leaving and going to the car. Told him I'd see him again, told him the gun was cool, and thank you for letting me hold it. Told him to text me soon, etc. Once I was gone, I blocked his number and was more paranoid about who I slept with going forward. No, because why would I also be like, really cool gun, see you tomorrow, and then like leave the state? Oh boy. So from 16 to 34, I was in a committed relationship. I got divorced and found myself looking into online dating. I was also extra broke, so I looked at stuff like OkCupid. Here's a memorable one. One guy was really cute, lots of tattoos, muscular, easily twice my size. He loved Carpenter films and Nightmare Before Christmas. We chatted on and off for a month or so, but we lived an hour apart. Finally, we make a date and meet up at a bar after work to shoot pool. He starts pulling my hair. I'm guessing in a way that he thought was sexy. It wasn't. I had 2 drinks in 2 hours and was ready to go home. He wasn't nearly as charming in person. Oh well. We go out to the parking lot where he picks me up, sits me in the truck, and pulls out his, which is the size of my forearm, by the way. Oh my god, and proceeds to tell me I am going to, oh my god, basically tries to rip my, yeah, I can't read all of this. I fight my way out of it, basically threatening to scream bloody murder and scramble to my car and drive home. The way I would have already been screaming bloody murder. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I knew I was lucky he let me go. I had no intention of ever seeing this guy again. I'm getting my stuff ready for work the next day and realized I'd lost my ID somewhere. Call the bar, they don't have it. Fuck, I've got to call the creep. Oh, I would just order a new one. Nope, he doesn't have it either. But he does have a lecture for me about how I'm a tease, and that's why I'm single. Because I lead guys on. I'm such a, blech. It's so messed up that he now has blue balls because I let him on. Men can burn in hell for all I care. I just want my ID, but he denies that he has it. Fine, fuck, I'll get a new one. My lost ID shows up in my mailbox a week later in a plain envelope that has not been mailed. The idea that he was outside my house without my knowledge really creeps me out. Edit, I used to keep my ID in my back pocket while in a bar. Stupid move. I hate that. I hope you moved. I hope you moved. I hope you moved. I hope you have security cameras. I don't know. I hope you have every precaution you can possibly have so this man cannot ever come near you again. Oh my god, fuck that dude. I once went out on a pseudo date, I'm not sure if I know what that means, with an old friend who had become a mortician. He was showing me around his workplace and I could tell he was getting flirty with me. He tried multiple times to talk me into lying down on the embalming table. No kink shaming, but it wasn't gonna happen. No, and somebody said he was dying to get you on that table. Like, you're done, downvote. My boyfriend and I went on a date a few months ago to a nearby steakhouse that my boyfriend's friend had recommended, I think for our 6-month anniversary. The evening was lovely and we decided to walk home along the canals. We got to the last bridge we had to cross under before we reached home, which also happened to be the longest and darkest of them all. And when you passed the first meter or so, it opened up to a wider path where there was a man standing in the dark. I wasn't expecting him and just stared at him in wide-eyed surprise as he stared back, but didn't stop walking because my boyfriend kept walking and he was holding my hand. It wasn't until I looked ahead of me that I saw the other 2 men, one at the exit, one in the middle, all in pitch black, all with their hoods up. The walk through that canal is, to date, the longest 15 seconds of my life. Luckily nothing happened, but my boyfriend and I were dressed nicely. We'd been on a date, plus steakhouses are expensive. The least you can do is make an effort. So I was sure we were getting robbed, but they didn't move. Our theory is they were gang related and waiting to attack someone in particular, but I was freaked out for a good few weeks and I refused to walk along the canals. No, because I would have turned around and ran. I would not have been able to do that. I don't care. I don't care. My boyfriend, I'm so sorry. Let me just say this. If I'm walking with my boyfriend, we're holding hands, I'm talking. Holding my boyfriend's through a canal and there's 3 hooded men and he keeps walking and he's dragging me along with him because we're holding hands. You're done. Oh, you're gone. Like, why are you putting me in danger? Even though nothing happened, you're still putting me in danger. I'm a girl. When she out of the blue started telling me how she wants essentially everyone she knows to die, that's like no context, that's insane. You guys, there are endless stories in here. It's not even funny, but I think I'm gonna save some of these for another video. There's just so many. But that's all I'm gonna read for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't. I hate this. I hope I never have to date again. If you have any scary, weird, creepy, anything related to dating stories that you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. And unfortunately, again, I have nothing to ramble about. I have a wedding this weekend. That's about it. And honestly, I gotta get all my work done so that I don't have to work on Friday. And I didn't work Monday, so now I have 3 days to work this week, which is not hard to do, but you know what I mean. So I'm gonna go, but I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye.